Hi everyone and welcome back to Evocative Scents. In today's video, I will be picking 10 fragrances from my collection that has got me the most compliments for the warm weather or the summer season of course. And what's great about this list is that most of these fragrances are affordable. I have done full review of most of these fragrances featured in this list. So if you are interested, I would highly recommend you to check the full review out. Most of these fragrances are really good in terms of performance. The fragrances ranked on this list are in terms of compliment factor, and if you are new to this channel and are watching my video for the first time or love any kind of fragrance related content, do consider subscribing to this channel and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on my new videos. And one last thing before I start this video, the ranking of these fragrances are based upon what people around me tend to like more rather than the ones which I like more, and which fragrances you would have loved to see them being featured in this video. Please let me know in the comment section down below. So without any further delay, let's start this video. Coming right at number 10 is a perfume from Fragrance World called Jour. Don't know if I'm getting the name right or not, but it is such a fantastic summer fragrance. Opens up beautifully with a slightly sweet citrusy note, and it follows up it with a salty aquatic sea breeze note. If you love Dolce & Gabbana light blue intense, this could be a great addition to your fragrance collection. This cologne is light, airy, slightly citrusy as well as salty with a bit of musky undertone, making it a great option for everyday summer fragrance as well. Performance is also decent considering it is a summer fragrance. You should get around 5 to 6 hours of longevity, but its projection is on the softer side. This fragrance is more suited for casual events, not exactly a fragrance for dressed up situation, but this mass appealing fragrance is suitable for all age groups. I think this can be a perfectly unisex fragrance and a fragrance that I can easily recommend in this hot weather. Now let's quickly move on to the 9th fragrance of this list. This is the Jean Paul Gaultier Le Beau Le Parfum, one of the longest lasting fragrances from the Le Beau lineup. A very tropical, aquatic, fruity, with the coconut being one of the major notes in this fragrance. But the thing is that the coconut feels very synthetic here, not the most natural smelling coconut here. But some people really like this smell and the fragrance has a good push to it. If you are going on a vacation near a sea beach, this might just be the perfect fragrance for you. I have done a complete review of this fragrance and I would highly suggest you to check that video out. This is not a fragrance that I would recommend you to blind buy it. I would suggest you to try this fragrance before considering a full purchase. It opens up with a pineapple smell, and as the fragrance dries down it moves on to the coconut smell along with a bit of sweetness from the tonka beans. Although not quite a beast mode fragrance, this one is long lasting for sure. Now let's move on to the 8th fragrance of this list. This fragrance is from the house of Ahmad Almaghribi. They have some of the longest lasting and well blended fragrance, and these fragrances come at an affordable price point as well. The aqua oud is inspired from the Giorgio Armani Acqua di Gio Profumo, an aromatic aquatic fragrance with a bit of spices. There is absolutely no oud in this fragrance, so the name feels a bit baffling to be honest. Keeping aside the name, this fragrance is an excellent option for summer. The scent profile leans towards the masculine side, and the versatility factor of this fragrance is very high. You can rock this fragrance in the formal situation or the casual events, and since the fragrance is inspired from one of the most popular men's fragrances, it is going to get you a lot of compliments for sure. An aquatic sea breeze like smell with little bit of aromatic spices and woodiness and muskiness in the dry down. A fragrance that you should definitely try this summer. Now let's move on to the 7th fragrance of this list. This is one of the underrated gems from the house of Armaf. It's the Cabello. It's a very refreshing super fresh fragrance with lot of citrusy elements along with little bit of woody nuances, topped up with a fresh and spicy ginger in the opening. This perfume reminds me a bit of Bleu de Chanel as well as the Bulgari Tiger. I would not say that this fragrance is a clone of those fragrances, but you get the idea that this fragrance shares the same space as those fragrances. It also means that it is going to be a very safe and mass appealing fragrance. This is an excellent fragrance for work environment, be it school, college or office. It can be worn anywhere. If you want a mild summer fragrance, this one is an easy recommendation. Once again, for more information, please check the full review out. On to the 6th fragrance then. This playful, refreshing fragrance is from the house of Paris Corner. It is the Care Fusion. Now this perfume leans more towards the feminine side, but this is one of those fruity, sweet, playful fragrances which even even I enjoy a lot. In the opening, it has that sweet sparkling lychee accompanied by just tiny amount of citruses. With lots of vanilla in the base, it smells like a sugary candy or some sweet jelly that we all have enjoyed in our childhood days. If you want a fun-loving, fruity, sweet fragrance that is equally refreshing for the summer as well, this is the fragrance I would suggest you to take a look at. If you are enjoying this video, hit that like button. But for now, let's move on to the fifth fragrance of this list. It is the Immortal from the house of Maison Alhambra, a sub-brand of Latafa fragrances, and this one is inspired from the Louis Vuitton L'Immensité fragrance. I have covered this fragrance in a full review long time back. It has that tried and tested combination of grapefruit and ginger note, and that makes it once again compliment getting and mass appealing as well. And this bottle comes with a magnetic cap as well, though not a super strong magnetic cap, but it looks really cool and beautiful. But this fragrance is not on this list for the bottle design. In terms of performance, it is pretty good, and all of these fragrances I have discussed till now are all light and airy, not very dense in nature, making these fragrances a viable option in the super hot and humid climate. I would say this is also a perfectly unisex fragrance. Let's quickly move on to the fourth fragrance of this list. It's from the house of Afnan. I originally intended to put the 9 PM Rebel on this list. When the temperatures are very high and it's extremely hot out there, I feel that fragrance is a tad too strong for this kind of weather. Well, the Supremacy Collector's Edition is different from the Supremacy Not Only Intense. It's altogether a different fragrance. This is definitely not inspired from the Creed Aventus Absolute. It once again has that familiar pineapple opening with little bit of sugary sweet touch. I also detect a bit of metallic smell in the fragrance. There are lots of green elements in the base, and as it dries down, it becomes musky and woody in nature. There is ample amount of sweetness in this fragrance that I can consider it as a unisex fragrance. It has excellent projection for 1.5 hours and expect anywhere between 6 to 8 hours of longevity on clothes. But if you are looking for Creed Aventus Absolute alternative, do check the Club de Nuit Preview review. Now let's move on to the third fragrance of this list, or should I say fragrances, because I have decided to keep 2 fragrances on this third rank. The first one is from Maison Alhambra. It's the John Lo Azure. Just like the previous Maison Alhambra fragrance, this fragrance is also inspired from the Louis Vuitton perfume Afternoon Swim. If you want a photorealistic citrusy fragrance, add a dash of ginger, and here this is the fragrance. The beauty of this perfume lies in its simplicity. This is such a nice, soothing, simple yet pulling citrusy fragrance that makes it just the right perfume for the extreme heat, almost giving a cooling and relaxing vibe. Granted, this is not the strongest fragrance on this list, but anyone can pull it off. Perfectly unisex and super appealing in nature, and one I would highly recommend for the extreme summer. And the third fragrance of this list, and unsurprisingly, it's the Rasasi Havas Ice. In my full review, I have already mentioned that I don't particularly like Rasasi Havas or the Havas Ice or the Invictus DNA, but I also can't deny that this is a truly compliment pulling DNA. Had I made this list on my own choice, this list would have certainly looked very different. If you like sweet, fresh, aquatic fragrance with little bit of spices, then get the Havas or the Havas Ice, whichever you like. I personally prefer the Havas Ice a bit more than the Havas, but as I always say, fragrances are totally subjective in nature, and your choice of fragrances can really differ from mine. Now let's move on to the second fragrance of this list. It might surprise some of you, but this one is a truly head-turning fragrance. A gem from the house of Latafa. It is the Ajaib Dubai Portrait White Edition. This is supposed to be inspired from Mango Kiss from Stephen Humbert Lucas. I haven't tried that fragrance, so I can't comment how close is it to that fragrance. But on its own, it's an excellent fragrance. Little bit of citruses with a strong note of mango, along with a bit of sweetness, combined with a bit of woodiness, just makes it a head-turning fragrance. And this unisex fragrance has very good performance to go along with it. I had done a full review of this fragrance a long time back. I would highly suggest you to give this fragrance a try. It is going to be one of the most unique fragrances you are smelling on this list. And now we are into the final fragrance of this list. And if you tuned into my channel for the first time, do consider subscribing to this channel because your support really means a lot to me. The top fragrance of this list is unsurprisingly the Latafa Atlas. It is also one of the most strongest fresh fragrance in my collection. It's aquatic with little bit of green elements, with little bit of salty smell as well. Extremely strong in terms of projection and performance. It can be a bit of polarizing in nature. Love it or hate it, you are sure to get noticed with this fragrance. I have the full review review of this fragrance on my channel, and for more information check that video out. If you like this video, hit that like button, and which fragrance garners you the most compliments? Do let me know in the comment section down below. And for more such videos, show your support by hitting that subscribe button. So that's it for today's video. I will meet you all in my next video.